Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Szamuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, host also of RT's talk show, Crosstalk. Well, Peter, there's an interesting imbroglio brewing in Central Europe. Pope Francis is scheduled to visit Hungary on September the 12th to attend a mass, part of the International Eucharist Conference. And it concludes with a 3-hour mass at Heroes Square. But pointedly, Pope Francis has no intention of meeting Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán or even Hungary's president. And then immediately after this mass, he's going on to Slovakia, which is next door to Hungary, for a 3-day visit. And the Hungarians are understandably...
And meeting the political leadership.
Exactly, meeting there. And the Hungarians are understandably miffed by it because they say, you can't, the Pope, that's a big deal for a Pope to visit a country. Hungary is a very Catholic country. Its Catholicism is ingrained within its own national identity. And for the Pope not to meet the president or the prime minister is a slap in the face. Now, what that leads me to think, if this meeting really doesn't happen, because I think the Hungarians are now putting a lot of pressure, insisting that he meets. If it doesn't happen, then it just shows that this Pope has really become an extraordinarily political figure, which is a very bad idea for popes, because if you want to keep your flock and encourage new members of the flock, you want to provide something spiritual. You want to provide something that's an alternative, something alternative from politics, alternative to the cultural fashions of the day, from all of the decadence and so on. That's what people come to the church for. They want something distinct. They want something spiritually nourishing. Pope Francis isn't really doing that. I mean, if he's just simply going to be going from the political fashions of the hour, the people aren't going to be interested in joining the Catholic Church. So I think Pope Francis has not been a good thing for the Roman Catholic Church in the world.
I think Pope Francis is a huge disappointment, because he dabbles too much in real world things. And that's what we have politics for, okay? Right. And it's dreadful most of the time. Everyone watching the Gaggle knows that, okay? Right. And it's really nonsensical, because the claim is that the Pope is not pleased with Orbán's position on like immigration. Well, actually, Hungarians are much, while in majority against it, but a very strong minority that are for it. And those numbers don't match up in Slovakia, in the Czech Republic. I guess we call it Czechia now. So, I mean, even the claim, that he's not happy with the domestic, what business is it as the Pope of domestic politics? I mean, George, again, we're going to date ourselves, but I remember when John Paul II met Arafat.
Yes, he did.
And Arafat was armed.
Yes, he did. Yes.
He had a sidearm, okay? Right. And the Pope reached out. That's what he's supposed to do, reach out. And insult to injury, Orbán's voting bloc is Catholic, okay? I mean, he's, by shunning Orbán, you're shunning his supporters. A very Catholic country. I had the privilege of living in Budapest for 6 months many, many years ago. Yep, folks, it's a Catholic country, okay?
It's extremely Catholic. I mean, you hear church bells ringing all the time. Any time of day, you hear church bells. It's very, very much the Catholicism, part of its identity. This is a country that part of its identity has been forged by fighting off invaders. The Islam with the Turks, they were ruled for 200 years by the Turks, then ruled by Austrians, then the Russians. And the Catholicism is a part of its national identity. So, that's a very big deal for that. And, the idea that somehow, you don't like Orbán's position on immigration, well, that really has nothing to do with you. I mean, for the Pope to start dabbling in these issues and to say, well, the church takes this position on immigration and not that position. No, there's nothing in the Bible that says,
well, I mean, and it's nothing.
Is a good thing or not a good thing. I mean, there's nothing in it. So for him,
the church can have from a religious perspective, a position on immigration, but not not having a position on Hungary's policies of immigration.
Right.
You know, very broadly, I think that's okay.
Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, broadly, basically, you love your fellow man. Now, right. You love your fellow man, and that, yes, you know, the Good Samaritan and everything else, but you can't translate that into actual policy, because loving your fellow man doesn't mean somebody could come in illegally and stay and you have no say in the matter. So it's a misreading of Christian teaching.
Well, it's not the Vatican's jurisdiction, let's put it.
Exactly. And the Pope has this habit of thinking that it's within his responsibility to start making pronouncements on all sorts of matters that really he doesn't. I mean, yes, he's the head of the church, but church doctrine isn't set personally by him. There's the Holy Synod, and they, to collectively make decisions. If you're going to make a major decision on Catholic doctrine, on Catholic dogma, it's not up to one man. He doesn't make that policy. It's in the Holy Synod. So he just makes these sort of pronouncements. Like, remember when he said something about, well, I'm kind of in favor of civil union for homosexuals. Now, leave aside, whether you agree or disagree on anything, it's still not up to him to make that.
Yeah, I mean, he has a personal opinion.
Right.
That's fine, okay?
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, George, let's just say what's true, is that he doesn't like Europe.
He does not. No, he does not. Yeah.
He doesn't. Okay. He really just has, I think, even kind of a disdain for it. Okay. I mean, and one can maybe understand it, may not necessarily agree with it, but understand it coming from what we used to call a third world country that was on the receiving end of Western imperialism. Yeah, I can get that. Okay. But that the job description is you're the head of the flock. Okay.
That's right.
Fine. Okay. And if you have a special preference for Latin America and you want to do extra things there, knock yourself out. That's okay with me. Okay. But his antipathy towards Europe and European culture is disturbing. And I was brought up Catholic. Okay. I was brought up, and I lived in Catholic Poland, very Catholic Poland, for a long time. And for him to snub Orbán supporters is a big deal. It's a big deal for them. Okay.
Yeah. And he has, as I said, he has this tendency of trying to worm his way in with politically favored leaders. I remember when he visited the United States in the Obama era, and then he started, and Obama was there, and he started talking about the culture of death. Now, that's a big deal with the Catholics. They have the culture of death. They're against the death penalty, they're against abortion, and they're against euthanasia. So he started to talk about the culture of death, but he only brought up the death penalty because, and he turned ingratiatingly to Obama, we're going to say the culture of death. And of course, you have done a great deal on this, because you are opposed to the death penalty. And Obama says, thank you, Your Holiness. But he doesn't mention, that Obama has opposite views on abortion and presumably assisted suicide, which the Catholic Church, that's part of the culture of death.
Well, it cheapens the Supreme Pontiff. Okay, right. I mean, you have dogmas, and that's fine. Okay, but you just can't pick and choose to curry favor.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why a lot of American Catholics have turned away from Rome. And you'd be surprised that, historians will be talking about the Second Vatican Council for a very, very long time. And, what was opening up to the world, a lot of American Catholics just lapsed as a result. But then there's other Catholics that said, no, we don't like Vatican II. We're going to stick with it before, okay? And that there is a strong strain of that there. Of course, the media is intensely anti-Catholic, even though a lot of politicians are Catholic, but the media and the culture is fundamentally anti-Catholic. And you see it all over popular media, all over the place, okay? And so, you know, I think there's the Rome Vatican has a misreading, because a lot of people, like you said, I mean, for so many people, this is, you know, this is the final place where when you're in a bad place, this is what catches you. Okay, this is your safety net. Okay, and if you cheapen it, you know, and then that's just an open door to more radical secularization, which is a dead end, complete dead end. It is nihilism, and it just brings out the worst in us. Our worst angels come out. And, you know, I have to say personally, if I can say, I've been very disappointed with the Catholic Church for many decades now, because trying to curry favor with current trends is that's not your line of business.
It's not your line of business, and that's exactly right. And that's why it's so important. I mean, why do people you know, seek religious consolation? Because they don't like the culture of death, because they don't like, you know, the pessimism, the
consumerism, materialism.
Exactly. You know, the nihilism of, you know, popular culture, all of that. And they see in religion something, you know, that's, you know, it challenges that, as opposed to that. They don't want a church leaders who are trying to curry favor with the very people that they're trying to avoid. They're trying to escape from these people, and yet the church leaders are trying to curry favor with them.
See, the problem with a lot of Christianity is the way that is pitched to people is that Christianity will help you become a good person. Well, that's not the role of religion. Okay, it's much deeper than that. And I've looked at data over the decades, is that a lot of people that proclaim to be a Christian aren't really Christian, because what they're doing is that this is kind of like 1970s pop psychology. Right. Okay, I'm okay, you're okay. Well, what does that mean? Okay, what does that have to do with, you know, your soul? I mean, and it has nothing to do about to quench your soul. It's just because it's just finding our place in the modern world.
That's a very good point. And I remember when, again, going back to when Francis visited the United States, and you know, media loved him. And that was just the way you described it. That's pretty much how the media look upon religion. You know, something that makes you feel good. You know, makes you feel sort of at one with everybody. You know, oh, great. I feel so wonderful because I see Pope Francis, and then, and then he's a kind of a rock star. And so that really has nothing to do with religion, but the media people think, that's it. That's what it is.
Because then it's not a danger to them.
Right. That's exactly. It's not a danger to them. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. You know, we'll see what happens with the visit.
And I know what you want me to say. We're on locals. Okay, go to thegaggle.locals.com. Apparently, I saw a picture of it. Kira sent it out to us today. There is a tip jar. Think about it, folks, please.
Exactly. Yeah, we live off tips. Yeah, that's it. You know, that's how we pay the rent, off the tips. So, and if you like, we're also on Rumble. Look us up on Rumble. And if you like the Gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Buddy as well.